the programs and what we're doing, that should be the center of attention because that is where the real work is happening. And it's incredible. I actually just got chilled talking about it. And that's why we're here. It is beautiful work when you get to celebrate these people who have dedicated their lives to doing something more than themselves. And you're able to find people with that resonant heart and you're finding that alignment between the two. It is just, it's magical.
Today, I'm talking with Gillian Townsend, the new Chief Development Officer at United Way. Welcome, Gillian.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm very excited to meet you and to get to know you a little bit. There's one question that we like to begin with, and that is, what is in your cup? Do you have a cup of anything delicious with you right now?
I have water because I'm a bit of a plain Jane. A weird quirk about me, I don't drink any sort of caffeine and never have. And who knows when that tipping point will be where I think I need it. But right now, just water.
I'm on my second cup of tea over here, so I've got the caffeine for both of us.
Great.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Chief Development Officer role? We have a lot of listeners who may not have worked in a nonprofit capacity, and there's all of this nonprofit internal language that we use. So can you tell us a little bit about what this role entails?
Absolutely. So it's a new role for the organization. And so I think to an extent, we will be defining the unique role for United Way as we go and as we really determine the needs. That being said, traditionally, this role leads the development team or the advancement shop. And really, it's my favorite thing, right? Is that we get to talk to our organization. We get to know people internally. We get to know people externally. And then most importantly, we get to know our donors and what motivates them to give, motivates them to stay connected with their time, treasure, and talent. And you get a little bit of all of that. It aligns really well with United Way as a whole, being a convener in the organization. We essentially do that. We need to know what's happening both internally and externally and find that alignment to set our community up for success.
I'm curious, did you grow up in Colorado?
I have been here for quite a while now, but I did not grow up here in Colorado. I moved here back in 2008, and they just haven't been able to get rid of me since then. But I am a native Californian. That probably knocks me down a couple pegs on some people.
You're still welcome here.
Great. Yeah, I spent my youth in California and have been here and spent most of the time in Larimer County.
So where in California were you born and did you grow up?
So I spent my life in Fremont, California, spending some of my time there and then also some of my time in Danville. And it was lovely. And it is a place that I still really value getting to go back to visit, but Colorado is definitely home for me.
So I have family that live in Danville, actually.
Really?
Yes. Yes. And it's
small world.
It's a small world. And it is a beautiful place in Danville. So what brought you to Colorado?
Yeah, good old pastime of going to college. My dad at the time was living in Wisconsin. And so I had applied for schools in California and Wisconsin and then had gone on one trip to Colorado prior to applying to Colorado State University and fell in love with Colorado. And it happened to be the midway point for both of my parents. And I got into CSU and did my tour and fell in love with the Northern Colorado community. Everyone smiled. Everyone smiled when he walked by. And that is what I remember from my time here.
So do I have it right that you studied biology at CSU?
I did. I studied biology. I wanted to be a veterinarian. And so I got my biology degree.
So you must be an animal lover too. Do you have a favorite animal?
Dogs all the way. I love animals, and that definitely drove my passion. But it's the people that started me in this business and kept me in this business. And it's just all of the people around us in our community.
So how did you come into development work and that interest? And I'm curious if there was a moment or even a person that shaped that path for you. How did you
Yeah.
come to be doing this work?
That's a great question. I don't think many young kids are raising their hands saying, "Hey, I want to be in development." Many of us don't even know what it is. And that was me. I started by volunteering, and I really continued that through my whole life, really.
Mm.
And so when I came out to CSU, again, wanting to become a vet, I was looking around for volunteer opportunities. I also needed to get those well-coveted vet hours, right? And so I started working at a very small nonprofit called Animal House Dog Rescue in Fort Collins. And I fell in love with it. And I fell in love with the people and the heart that the people had. The shelter manager at the time, she came up to me and she said, "Why do you become friends with everyone who walks through the door?" And she's much more of an introvert. I think I forced my friendship upon her. And I answered, I said, "I love to hear people's stories. I love to hear what motivates them and drives them, and even beyond like why they walked into our doors, right?
Mm.
But who they are as people. Why did they choose to use a groomer that was attached to a local rescue? Those kinds of things. And that really inspired me. And everything that I learned and all of my heart for this work started at that organization. And then it's just blossomed from there. I went on to work at Boys and Girls Clubs of Larimer County as well. Absolutely loved it. The youth are always going to have a near and dear place in my heart. And yeah, I've just been going off from then. But it was that moment in time where I realized it's beyond the animal, right? It is the
Mm.
connection to the people and the people walking in this store. And that is what fills my cup on a daily
Mm.
basis.
Mm. I'm curious if you see a common theme between all of these interests and all of these ways in which you've been involved and
Yeah,
contributed.
I want to make a difference behind the scenes. And that can look so many different ways. Helping people and being around others who want to support and lift others up. It's one of the most incredible roles that you could possibly be in, right? I am not on the front lines. I don't want to be the center of attention because I shouldn't be. The programs and what we're doing, that should be the center of attention because that is where the real work is happening. And it is beautiful. And I get to essentially celebrate them and what they're doing, and then talk to people who have the means to support an organization that is doing the work. And it's incredible. I actually just got chilled talking about it. And
Mm.
that's why we're here. And that is why it is beautiful work when you get to celebrate these people who have dedicated their lives to doing something more than themselves. And you're able to find people with that resonant heart and you're finding that alignment between the two. And it is just, it's magical.
That's the word I was just thinking is it is actually, it does feel like magic when someone who has an abundance of something to give can actually get connected with somebody who's in need of that particular thing. And we all have this, right? We all have an abundance of something and a need for something. When it comes to the development role, what are some of the challenges of that role in that position that people may not know about?
I've thought a lot about this because I really love my job. And also, there are moments where it is hard. You're creating these really deep, authentic relationships with people and you're walking beside them. And there's a lot of emotion behind that.
Mm.
And I don't think anyone in this work wouldn't be in this work because they don't have the heart for it and they don't feel those emotions. It's so amazing whether it's happy tears that you're crying or sad tears that you're crying. These are real relationships that you're forming and you're walking alongside them. And it's beautiful. And I've had moments where I've had donors that I've worked with for a very long time who I've had to say goodbye to, right? They've
Mm.
passed away and that is hard. And when you do this for the right reasons and you put all of your heart into it, you're giving a lot and you're giving a lot of your heart to the work that you're doing.
It doesn't seem like it's not a role that you can just kind of go through the motions in that connectedness of the role. There's so much nuance and every single person is different, right? You're just working with so many different people. I imagine that that's part of the challenge and the joy.
I think the exact same thing, right? The deep, authentic relationships that you are creating, that is what keeps me here, right? I'm so looking forward to really getting to know our donors, but you're getting to know their motivation, their values, their fears, their hopes. You are hearing from them, and oftentimes they may have experienced something in their past, and that's what's been the motivation. And it's really beautiful to be able to get to know people on that level. And then I think that the simplest version of that is seeing your work turn into real impact. You get to see the connection between the conversation, the relationship, and then getting to see something meaningful happening in our own community. That it's beautiful. Again, magical. I think that might be the theme of this conversation.
Yeah. So thinking just of nonprofits and service, we're in such a time of change right now. In so many ways, I feel like we haven't really stopped walking through change since COVID. We had this massive shift, and I don't think that the kind of onrushing of change has really stopped. And we continue to walk through change after change. From your perspective as someone who is skilled in development work and who has been in the nonprofit space for a long time, when you kind of look out on the future landscape of service, what would your hope or your vision be moving through this time?
Yeah. I would hope that we're going to see more generosity. There may or may not be less people who are able to be generous. We're not 100% sure exactly what that's going to look like. The beauty of this role is that we have a lot of opportunity for United Way of Weld County because we can do things differently. We can think creatively and think outside of the box. We have a lot of generous people in our community. One of the things that drew me to United Way was the fact that it is really community-wide. And so I felt that in previous roles where like you are talking to a donor and you are putting the donor first, right? You're saying this is how our organization can help support your goals and vision and the kind of impact that you want to make. And also we're in a really unique position where we have some incredible partners that are doing really great work too. And we can help tell their story as well. We are here to be kind of that connection point. So I'm feeling hopeful for the future. And also, like many of us, we're seeing need increase. And we're hoping that we're going to be able to find again some of those resonant hearts that are willing to bridge the gap. What is the saying? As the tide rises, all ships rise. I am hopeful that we can help lead the charge on that.
The Weld Together podcast is brought to you by United Way of Weld County, building powerful partnerships to bring about lasting community-wide change. Learn more at www.unitedway-weld.org.
Talking with Melanie for our December podcast episode, we were talking about the response that we've seen in Weld County to some of the more urgent needs that have come up unexpectedly. Has been just astonishing.
I feel that. And again, I think it goes back to I've been so geographically close to Weld County, but stepping into it from a different experience, even in these last few weeks, it has been really incredible. Even going back as far as my interview, having all of the people who showed up for that community portion at the end, it was absolutely astonishing. I may or may not have blacked out during the process because it was overwhelming. But I remember calling my husband on the way home and saying, I can't believe the amount of people that turned up to meet me and wanted to have a say in this role and who was going to be in this role. And just the sheer passion from this group of people that I was talking to. So I am so looking forward to meeting all of those people again when I can be of sound mind and have more conversation with them too. When I was in nonprofits, I felt everyone's heart, right? Everyone was in it for the right reasons and they wanted to do it and they were passionate about the work. But I didn't feel like we were doing it all the time in the right ways, that there were other ways to do it, better ways to do it. And I wanted to learn that. And I told my boss at the time, I want to go learn all of the things. I want to go learn the things, be really good at it, get really good at it, and then bring it back to an organization that is ready to make change. And so all of that clicked into place.
I think that is such a pivotal point that you make, that there are a lot of people who really have a heart for making a change, but also the way that we change things makes a difference. It actually helps to create the difference that we're trying to make, right?
Absolutely.
And to have a mind for both. What is the heart for the work, but also what is the best pathway for the work is also part of achieving it. Speaking of magic, I have a question that I really love to ask people, and that is, if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing that would make one big leap towards what you envision for United Way, what would you wave a magic wand and change in an instant, if you could?
That is an amazing question and a hard question. The first thing that comes to mind is that everyone hears what we say in a different way. It would be that when I speak or when anyone on the team speaks, they essentially are immediately translated into the person's mind that they are talking to, that it's digestible, it's something that they can understand, because there are ways to do that. But how incredible would it be that if it was just in an instant, that no matter how we spoke about it, the person that we were talking to could understand it and be able to digest it and move forward with what we said. I think differences in communications are one of the hurdles that we all have to overcome in our personal lives and our professional lives. And how amazing would it be if that anytime you spoke, the person that you were speaking to could hear it in the tone you wanted to say it, in the language that you were trying to say, and they need to hear it to portray it in the same way. That would be pretty incredible. And so much of this role is storytelling, right? And to be able to connect that. And so if any time I were to tell a story, if that would land for the person in the way that they need it to land, that would be absolutely amazing.
We do love stories.
I mean, I'm bound to have many more stories over time when it comes to United Way. At the one and only all staff meeting that I have participated in, we did a thankful exercise. And what I found is that listening to what all of them had to say, I wanted to bottle it all up. I wanted to be like, this is it. Like, these are the things. You are the reasons why people give, the things that you do. And at least one of them had tears in her eyes while she was telling her story. And all I could sit there thinking about was like, this is the reason. This is why we all do what we do. And this is why I came to join the team. And so I am most looking forward to, I want to talk to the donors. I want to talk to all of the possible people, but I really want to talk to the people who are doing the programmatic pieces of the work that we do at United Way and hear their stories and what is motivating them. How can we capture that and be able to tell their story? It's been incredible. I found myself a couple times with also tears in my eyes because I do cry when other people cry. And I understand why people are investing their careers in this. They are investing their dollars in this. They are investing their volunteerism in this. I already am feeling that and understanding that, and I'm excited.
That's been my experience as well. The stories that come through the staff who are so committed and so deeply knowledgeable, it's astonishing. And the stories that come from the community are so touching. I feel so privileged to be a witness to those stories as well. So that leads me to the final question that we like to ask our guests on the podcast. We asked earlier what is in your cup. We're also curious what fills your cup. What keeps you going? How do you refill the well?
I may have actually already used that earlier in this podcast. And I remember what I said because it is truly what fills my cup, and it is connecting. I love connecting with our donors. I love connecting with our staff. I love connecting with the programs. That is what fills my cup, is getting to know the people who I'm working with, both externally and internally, learning what motivates them, learning really where their values are, what they're thinking about, what are they worried about right now. That 100% fills my cup. And then, of course, my family. So my family is lovely, cuddling my dogs. Can't leave them out. But yeah, spending time with my family. But this work is amazing work. And I am so honored to be a part of the organization, but just the overall development officers, right? Like, we have a really special role in this world. And I'm not sure we all acknowledge just how incredibly special it is.
What do you think is most special about it?
We get to be a part of people's lives, right? We get to be a part of, how do I put this? The times when I have been in the room when someone says yes, like you've asked them to come join and be a part and invest, whether it's their time, treasure, and talent, but they say yes, it is absolutely magical. I have cried a couple times alongside a donor who is deciding to walk alongside us, either in a greater capacity than they had or for the first time. We are not in the business of twisting people's arms. We're in the business of, if what we're doing aligns with what they are wanting to accomplish in this world, that is where the magic happens. And it is such a beautiful moment to be able to be a part of. And we're fortunate to be able to have those conversations with people.
They're fortunate to have you to have the conversations with. And I'm not just saying that to be nice, but I think there's a lot of us that think, I want to give and I don't even know where to begin. I want to be a part of something, but I don't know how I should go about that. And to have somebody that they can actually have those conversations with is really helpful. None of us can think through everything that there is to think through. And a lot of us need another voice to help us discern. To have somebody like you that they can trust is not going to pressure them, but is actually going to serve them and help them to think through the best way that they can be doing that is really special.
Would agree. I just feel fortunate.
It has been so lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Join the caring power of the United Way of Weld County community. Visit unitedway-weld.org, where you can learn more about our projects, find great volunteer opportunities, and donate. Special thanks to our cornerstone partners, our leadership givers, and the many individuals who make our work and this podcast possible. The music you heard today is by Alex Productions. I'm Diana Smith, your host. Thank you again for listening to the Weld Together podcast. And until next time, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and remember, even a little good can go a very long way.